Registration of bikes, I don't think it's a good idea, especially for $25. It's too much money and you're not really getting anything in return for it. For reckless bikes, there's cameras everywhere. If something happens, we'll get it on camera. There's always witnesses in a place that's crowded like this, so I don't think we need that. As for theft of bicycles, I don't think it helps either, because if you want to keep your bike, you engrave it with an engraver you can get from the RCMP and keep that number on file. So I don't think that's a problem as well. Oh yeah, the registration of bikes, especially for, say, something like $25 a year with a renewal fee, that's for sure a big tax grab.
I'm a courier and I've got a plate on my bike, and to be honest, I blow lights all the time. You know what I mean? It sounds like a tax grab. All the reasons they have for doing it just sound like the types of reasons that politicians come up for things when they want money, none of which will happen.
In regards to this idea in New York about paying the licensing fee for bicycles, I'm just wondering when I'm going to get my check. Because rather than as a cyclist paying to use the road, paying to have the privilege of bicycling, I'm thinking that society should pay me. Why should they pay me? Well, first of all, think of the hundreds of thousands of healthcare dollars that I save the system over my lifetime through the fact that I'm fit, I'm healthy, cardiovascular is great, I don't take up a lot of tax dollars that way. How else do I save the system money? Well, I don't have a car. Nobody needs to provide a parking space. Nobody needs to build a road for me. If they need to build something for me, which they should, it's called a cycle lane. It's very small compared to a car lane. I didn't see any cars paying an extra fee for the incredible unsightly network of roads that we have crisscrossing our continent right now. Those are just the first couple of things that come to mind. Of course, I'm saving a lot of space on the roads as well, allowing other cars to get where they need to go quicker, because I'm staying in my cute little cycle lane instead of bothering them by getting in their way. But like I say, I'm just waiting for my check based on the fact that I am contributing to, rather than taking from, the infrastructure that is saving rather than costing the city money. Thank you very much.
In my opinion, I think that the $25 fee is not really, it's not the amount of money, it's perhaps more the bureaucratic process behind it that I kind of don't like. I think that while maybe $25 to register originally, $5 thereafter to register that, it's not a big sum of money, but however, now you have to pay people to basically, I don't know, to do the paperwork, to file that, to whatever. I really like the idea that you could report people who ride recklessly. I myself ride pretty recklessly a lot of the times, and I can see the need for that. However, it just kind of seems like, I don't know, like I was just filling out my passport application, and the amount of paperwork that I have to do, the amount of wait time or stress that it adds to my day is really, I don't know, I don't think it's a really, I guess it's a necessity of life to do what we need to do, but I think there perhaps could be better ways of doing it. In terms of theft, in my opinion, I really don't think that it would cut down on theft. I mean, not everybody is gonna, I just don't know. I just really don't like the idea that I have to now do another thing before I have to buy a bike, to check the registration, to do this. And to be honest, I don't think most people will care about that. And in terms of like having basically like a license plate on my bicycle, I think that pedestrians or drivers for the most part won't even be able to see that. Like they won't even be able to, if I'm riding the way that I ride recklessly, somebody on the sidewalk will not be able to see like my numbers and be able to get that or whatever, unless I stop and do this. And that's pretty much it. Like I think generally, I think it's a good idea if it'll help build bike lanes and help bring bike awareness. But I don't know, it's the bureaucratic process behind it. It's the licensing. It just seems like a money grab.
Based on our own experience here with the bike lanes being handed out to certain people of certain professions, and I'm not going to name names here, it's nothing more than a surreptitious form of taxation. And if the government of New York is desperate to the point where they need to tax people on bicycles, something is really wrong with the way they stratify the income and how, you know, who has what, you know. Not to mention the fact that the bicycle lane here has been almost a disaster. Every single intersection that comes across or whatever, you can't turn left out of them. There's a lot of debris and a lot of stuff that doesn't get swept out of there. The street sweepers go by once a week, but maybe once every 6 weeks is one of the street sweepers go by configured for the dimension of that size of that bike lane. So it's kind of a mixed bag, really. You know, you think it's gonna get people, you know, it's gonna make the drivers happy for about a month, and then you're gonna be back to square one. And who knows? You might have spent all the tax money you can collect from that. You know. No, it won't cut down on theft, and it's going to increase. It's going to increase the amount of people that get pulled over for trivial stuff. You know, as far as I mean, right now the way we've got our bike license, there's a list of 300 things you can be fined for. I mean, I think I hold the record for about $5,000 worth of outstanding fines, and maybe even a bench warrant for my name. But I'm telling you, it doesn't cut down on the theft, and it just puts a big bullseye on the back for any bicycle cop or, you know, motorcycle cop that has really nothing to do, and a quota to fill as far as the taxes go and how many tickets they need to fill out to make good. So, you know, it doesn't surprise me that they're coming after us, but, you know, if I encourage you to lend your influence and say, you know, as long as you got the effort to pedal out here and you're doing the right thing for the environment, I think you should be the last person that gets, you know, busted down for that. Go after the guy with the Hummer and, you know, the Cadillac Escalade. He can afford to pay. The guy who's humping it out there in February or whatever in, like, you know, 80 millimeters of rain, he doesn't need a light. I mean, come on, man. What's next? You're going to get a license for your kid to have a tricycle? Like, come on now, you know. I mean, what else do I have to say, you know? I can't. It's the modern age, right?
The idea of licensing bicycles in general is really not that practical, okay? Because then you'd have to license children's bikes, you'd have to license people to actually have the ability to ride those bikes in traffic. Now you're going to have an administration, you're going to have a whole set of government that's overlooking that entire process. As for whether it's going to create a safer roads, I would say not. I would say that people are still going to cruise the sidewalk, and if you catch somebody, it's only by the grace of God that you'll see their license plate, okay? In Vancouver, we've had license plates for couriers for more than 25 years. And the reason that we have those is because someone was hurt seriously many years ago, and this became a subject in the local press. And the only way that the City Council could legislate this issue or do something about this issue was to get bicycle couriers to have license plates. So there's many problems with that, and it's still in system, okay? And I don't know whether it has served the needs of the public or not, okay? The thing about that sort of a system, when the powers that be start telling you that it's going to make it safer, it's going to make it easier for to build cycle lanes, usually they're serving themselves with those sorts of things. And the way that they're serving themselves is they're setting up a regimen of legislation designed to enforce what people think are the basic rules of the road. I would say the best thing that they could do for us as cyclists, in general, pedestrians and motorists, is to just educate the general public, okay? Educate the driving public on how to maneuver in city traffic around bicycles. Educate cyclists about how to drive in traffic. The costs of riding on the sidewalk and hurting somebody. You're just as liable if you hurt somebody on your bicycle on the sidewalk than you are if you hit a car and it's your fault, okay?
Is it a money grab? Will it deter theft?
Well, I don't think it'll do anything. I think it's just a way of somebody saying, look, I know how to help this situation. Let's get everybody to have a license plate, and then we'll get them to have insurance. And then, by God, we'll catch them doing whatever they're not doing right. And you see, that's the issue, okay? So what you need to do is to think of a way that isn't going to create a whole bunch of bureaucracy, that isn't going to foist a fee, a yearly fee, and a fee for every bicycle on every rider, and that ends up serving the public in the best way possible. So what's that? I say education. And you know, the funny thing about our bicycle lanes in here in Vancouver, and I'll bring this up right away, it's made my life safer, okay? And if it's made my life safer, it's made the lives of other people safer, okay? And when people talk about these bike lanes and they're bringing up the issue and how it's taking away space from drivers, you know what? They never talk about safety. They never talk about how people are riding on the streets and are safer for it. So, I don't know, I think that's kind of a red herring issue, this whole issue of getting license plates for bicycles and having this system. I mean, for heaven's sakes, guys, haven't you got anything better to do with your lives? So get off your legislative bus, spend some public money, and educate the public. All right? That's my 2 cents.